Good morning, beautiful people. It is Tuesday, July 14th, 2020. Great day to be above ground as opposed to below it. Let's talk about what's going on in the sports world. The NFL and the NFLPA had their first initial conversations last night. Richard Sherman sent out a tweet saying that they had a conversation with management and they were blunt and honest and player safety will not be compromised. And this is obviously just the first step of what we're about to see for the next couple weeks here before the NFL teams check into training camp. Now, the Chiefs and Texans rookies are supposed to check in this Saturday, okay, because they're playing the first Thursday opening game. So they're checking in earlier. The rookies check in 7 days before the vets check into training camp. So most rookies are checking in the 21st, but the Chiefs and Texans rookies are checking in on Saturday, allegedly. There is zero plan. They have no idea. They go there. What is going on? Are they staying in hotels? Are they quarantining? Are they allowed to leave? Are they allowed to do this? What's going on? Nobody knows, and that is happening on Saturday. I think we're in for a couple weeks here of some great conversation. There's going to be some dialogue between the NFL and the NFL Players Association to figure out how we return to the football. If you look around at other leagues, the MLS, now they're better soccer players than anybody in this room.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? So have some respect whenever I say what I'm about to say. It is very terrible soccer to watch whenever you compare it to like Champions League and Premier and all that stuff, right? But boy, I have been captivated by the MLS. Last night was a 3-3 game. It was wide open. And I don't want to say that they're terrible at soccer because that's not the case. It is just a much different style of soccer than what you see over in Europe. And I just started watching soccer. I played soccer my entire life, never watched it, okay? Couldn't do it. I had ADD. I need a little bit more success, a little bit more happiness, a little bit more celebrating. But then I didn't respect the long game. But now, since we got the guy in Christian Pulisic, had one bad game, got fouled early, 2 minutes in, got hurt, by the way, get off his ass after what happened last game. But now I'm watching a little bit of soccer. I watch these MLS games. I'm like, you know what? Not as anywhere near as good as the soccer that we've been watching overseas. But for some reason, very entertaining to watch. You got a lot of goals happening. You got some action going on. In the mistakes, it's almost like when you watch a professional golfer hit a shank, you're like, oh, okay, like normalizes them a little bit. MLS has become like hey, I feel like I'm watching my friends play soccer here, and it's at night, and it's in the morning, and they're in a bubble, and it's working. The NHL started their training camp yesterday or something like that. It has turned out, I guess it's working, is what they're saying thus far. Now, granted, we're only one day in, and they're not allowed to say anything. I guess there's actual verbiage that they have to talk about in announcing if a player is practicing or not practicing, because they said some players have COVID, so they're not allowed to practice with the rest of their team. But the NHL is like, we're not saying that because we like the HIPAA law, and also we don't want our league being associated with players that have a bunch of COVID, because once that happens, it's going to be tough to get the season going. So they say, like, hey, somebody's missing practice for cautionary reasons or something. They will not say that they have COVID or how many people have, but they're back in the thing. In the NBA, they've been down at their main camp down there in Orlando at Disney, and I'll tell you what, they're golfing, they're fishing, they're playing some basketball. They got DJs in there. They're video gaming. They're playing ping pong. They got a lounge. They're talking. They're mingling. But the one thing that they just can't do is what they're learning. There is an Achilles heel for everything. Okay, you can have a complete biodome and you can think everything through. Adam Silver said, listen, we broke this thing down. We won't even have servers that work at Disney that'll be breathing the same air as the NBA players if they leave and come back. We'll have Disney workers that are there that'll stay there the entire time. They will be mingling with the NBA players, but if anybody leaves and comes back, they will be on lockdown. They will not breathe the same air. Then all of a sudden, I think the NBA players, while they're out fishing, may be seeing different sides of ponds and trees and holes and gaps in security. They're like, wait a minute, think we can maybe get a lady down here if we have to. They already start sending their shot, shooting their shot. Some girl in, I think, California tweeted that she's already been invited down to the bubble. There's no way this season happens. That obviously captivated the internet because we thought this was a biodome a la Pauly Shore.
Yep.
That's his name?
Well said, yes.
Yeah. Great movie.
Mm-hmm. Great movie.
Great movie.
Great movie.
Hey. People should watch that movie a little bit more, I think, and give it a little bit more respect. But that's what we thought it was going to be. Then we hear there's getting invites, so then you're like, oh, there must be a little bit of a crack in the security then. If they think they can get somebody in, there must be a hole in the fence somewhere. They must have one of those Pablo Escobar jails or down there where you can kind of control who comes and goes and who's kind of. So that was a very interesting thing. And then now we're learning just last night or yesterday, players about to have to lock it down. DoorDash got in there somehow. Uber Eats got in there somehow. Postmates got in there somehow. And Rashawn Holmes announced that he accidentally crossed the NBA quarantine boundaries to meet a food delivery person and must quarantine for 10 days as a result. Okay, so for 10 days, he's got to lock himself in his room because he somehow figured out a way to get a Postmates delivery person there. Whenever you're at training camp or whenever you're anywhere with a team in the NFL, they have cops literally outside of the dorm. Now, granted, there has been players that have got out somehow, and it's always a legendary stories when you're like, oh, old buddy was out last night and came back in. It's like, how? There's cops everywhere. Well, sometimes cops fall asleep. They're like that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. And then whenever you're at a hotel and you're staying at a hotel for like an away game or a home game, they have literal security guards and cops at the end of each floor, so you can't even get out. So the fact that these dudes were able to, or Rashawn here was able to just get out and go meet an Uber driver or Postmates or whatever it was, and then just walk right back in. I mean, there is already a leak in the system right there. What if the food can come in? Okay, what else can come in? Feels like they could be letting some COVID in at some point because they tested everybody. Only 2 players that have been down there have tested positive. They locked them down for 10 days. Russell Westbrook, James Harden. Now, James Harden, it has not come out that he had COVID, but he and Russell Westbrook were working out together. Russell Westbrook said that he had COVID. That's why he's not with the team in Orlando, so he's not even getting there. They've been very secure about the COVID, but I could tell you what, NBA, I think you have some holes in the dome, and that is something that I think all sports are hoping that they get them tidied up. Because if COVID gets in there and starts wrecking shop, the NBA will go down. And if the NBA stops, what else happens? Every other league stops probably because of things happening. And that's what the NFL has to watch as they think that the rookies are checking in for the Chiefs and Texans on Saturday in these next couple weeks of conversation. For the good of sports, we need the NBA to work. For the good of sports, we need the NBA to work. So if you're a food delivery person, if you're a lady who has potentially maybe fornicated in the past with somebody down there or potentially in the future, and NBA players, I'm sorry I have to be this guy, but we need this for the state of sports.
Need it.
We need those humans not to go down there, okay? We need them not to go down there. Listen, food delivery person, you already know you're not supposed to be here, okay? You know what's going on.
It's a bubble.
It's a bubble.
Don't accept it.
Just don't even accept the order. Maybe Uber should turn off DoorDash, Postmates. They should just turn off the NBA. How about they just turn off the NBA and all that? But it feels like with humans in there, and this is supposed to be 35 to 40 days now, and we already know there's a couple little holes. There's no way they could have biodomed the whole thing, even though it seemed like they were able to do that. What are the chances the NBA finishes? We have questions. All the boys are here at Nick Moraldo, at Toten Diggs, at Ty Schmidt, Jason McAfee, Viva Lazito, at Evan Fox, and on the phones, 1-833-622-3331 at Boston. Connor, how's it going, pal?
Going pretty well, Pat. These are the other shades that I got the other day. I feel fantastic.
So you bought the two fur. Did you get a deal on that? Did you pay full price for both those bad boys because you're rich?
No. I paid full price. They knew that, this kid doesn't even know what a BOGO is. I'll just go in and I'll just steal money from him.
Yeah, well, and it looks like it wasn't exactly just the glasses company that stole money from you. What are you wearing on your...
Oh, man, this is one of those really cool, I believe it's a Southeastern Asian T-shirts type hoodie with a hood and short sleeves.
There has to be a name for that. There is no way that is...
That is the name. I just told you the name.
It's on the tag.
You look amazing, though. How
Hey.
much did you spend on this outfit right here?
On this outfit right here, I think like $5,500.
No, you don't. There's no way. You would, by the way. I don't know if anybody saw his performance on the internet last night. We have created an even bigger monster somehow with giving him money for the first time in his life. Yesterday, he got this jumpsuit, sunglasses, headband, chain look out of nowhere because this is the first time ever having any cash at all in your entire life.
Yep.
And you just have to get rid of it. That stuff is burning a hole in your bank account. We got to get rid of this. It's like fun coupons. What do I need? Obviously, I need a probably very expensive thing that you didn't even know the name of, and 3-4 pairs of glasses that are definitely overpriced.
I don't know if they're overpriced. I mean, these things are actually from the year 2049. They were used in Blade Runner, so they're actually pretty good.
We're not supposed to have money, man. Listen, when I was your age,
Whole lot of money.
It's just not how it's supposed to
it's
go.
not supposed to go. What do you do? What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. What am I? Is that what I'm supposed to do?
I'm walking in, I'm taking it right off the rack.
Everybody comes after like professional athletes and stuff like that, and people that get rich who don't come from money and then get rich and then they lose their money. Like, well, they spend. It's like I understand how. And by the way, I was just like you. Whenever I was judging people who got money and would both their money, like, oh, you're an idiot. Take care of yourself. It takes a lot of discipline.
Seriously.
It takes a lot of discipline to have that type of money in your bank account and look at something that you've maybe wanted your entire life and just been like, no, I'm not going to buy it. And you're 21, 22 years old, 23 years old. It is I had a very hard time. I had a very, 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 it took me, by the way, I don't get, I get arrested there, right, for the public intoxication. The alleged story is the cop side. We have our own stories here. I did not swim in the canal. Everybody knows I have a hole in my eardrum. I would not have dove in there. Did I fall in? Maybe. Hey, maybe fell in there. But the swimming thing. But I think if it wasn't for that, my spending would have continued to be rather awesome. I mean, I was on a run there. Escalade, day I was drafted. Not even a question, day I was drafted. We have $0 at that point when you're drafted. You have no idea. Buy an Escalade, buy a house, buy a wrestling ring. And then you just walk through a mall and you see something. You're like, I think every one of my friends should have a pair of these as well. Here we go. We should all have these.
$500 shoes, Pat. We should all wear red $500 shoes.
We did not.
Hey, they were dope though. And you guys did talk me out of it because that was the trigger that was
Same
getting.
ones for $50.
Yeah, but those ones would have been awesome.
no.
If we would have walked in there.
Tony was not talking you out of that
Yeah,
one.
Diggs was a terrible influence in that particular case. Hey, they are nice shoes, by the way. They are nice shoes. And I just
Same weekend, you rented a cruise ship on the Allegheny River.
had to do it to have a casino. Exactly. These are things that you can't prepare for. I don't know how you learn about it. Okay, I guess you can have somebody just yell at you or whatever, and I was, on numerous occasions by certain people. Vinatieri had a lot of conversations with me about, come on. Do you need that? You could probably just have rented that. Yeah, but then, don't get to keep it forever, you know? There's always that moment, and now we're getting to watch Connor do that on a little bit smaller scale, but not too much. I mean, you're having a pretty good little freedom session.
Oh, yeah, it's a great time. I got like 18 jumpsuits in the mail right now on the way.
Geez.
You have a entire barn full of bad decisions. I can only imagine the stuff that you didn't pull the trigger on. Like, no, I can't do that.
Hey, good Good news here, not a lot. There was not a lot. Those were enjoyable times. Then I got franchise tagged, obviously. Then the next year I got another contract. And by that point, I had been through the phase, you know. But boy, if I don't get franchise tagged or that second contract, there's a good chance I'm on that broke 2.0 dog.
Hey, that's not bad, though. What is the favorite purchase for you of all time here?
Yeah, you know, I think it's the wrestling ring, to be honest, just because there's not a lot of humans that have it. And I have a full-size wrestling ring. Like, as a fan of wrestling my entire life, whenever I found out that I could buy that for a couple $1,000s, I was like, yeah, absolutely, I'm going to get that. But then I completely forgot about buying it. Remember, I was like, it was like 2, 3 a.m. when I bought that thing. So, which, by the way, turns out a lot of those purchases potentially get made. So that thing shows up at my house on an 18-wheeler. I completely forgot that I bought it. And then when it gets there, I'm like, oh, this is one of the most hilarious things of all time. And then the size of it was just so massive. It's 18 feet by 18 feet. So I obviously had no idea how to put it together. So there was like a put together Pat's wrestling ring party that we had. Put it together, and then my barn just sitting there, a wrestling ring. I go in, it literally looked like WWF or WWE was in my house. And then we go in there, and we're like, oh, this is so much fun. All my teammates that would come over to the house are like, oh, I've always wanted to get in a ring or whatever. Then they fall and they're like, oh, my God, that is so hard. That is impossible. I'm like, yeah, I'll never use it, bro. So that thing is probably the showcase. The Aquatic Vehicle is another one. It was supposed to be good on land and sea, like a Navy SEAL, and it turned out it wasn't. Like, thing couldn't float, but it was. But it had like the tank. It had 8 wheels, 4 on each side.
Yeah, diesel.
Yeah, it had 4 on each side, so you had the tank controls and
like a truck bed on the back.
And you were supposed to be able to. Yeah, there's a little flat, but it wasn't that big. It was only 8 wheels as opposed to like there's 12. By the way, there's a 12 and then there's like a 16 one. I got the little baby boy, but it had the back thing. And Tim McAfee saw it and was excited. I had a pond at the time at the house I was in, and he wanted to go fish out in the middle of it. So he took that thing out there, and that thing just started sinking right on down. So I bought it for its floating abilities, and turned out the damn thing couldn't float, you know.
Hey, good thing you didn't get the 18-wheel one, because that one definitely doesn't float.
I bet you that one would have been a little bit nicer. I assume that thing would have stayed above the water, but we had to drag that out. That's currently sitting in the barn. Bad decision, hasn't moved. We got 2 ATVs, a dirt bike.
Golf simulator.
Golf simulator has
Personal
not been used, though. That thing hasn't been used in a long time because
Mint condition.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying though here. Like, I want to judge Connor rather hard for his moves, but I literally did it in a much dumber fashion.
Better.
But at some point, you will get to the point where you look at things, you're like, all right, I'm never going to use that. But granted, I'm not sure I'm there yet. There's some things that I should not buy that I still buy. For instance, that Bentley was the dumbest purchase of all time. I do a stand-up comedy tour. I get a check for it. It's massive. I'm like, oh, my God, I could buy a Bentley with this. And then that turns into, should buy a Bentley with this. So then the Bentley just sits in the driveway for, 4 years at this point. Now it's just a little driveway ornament. Just waste money. Will never get my money back on it. Terrible purchase. That's the last dumb purchase I've made, was that one.
Looks good, though.
Not really. Like, I kind of hate that it's there because it gets in the way of the Harley that I have, a couple of those. I mean, we could just go. I mean, there's a lot. This is what I'm talking about. So whenever you want to judge people, okay, and I can understand where the judge comes from. For people, it is incredibly difficult, especially if you don't have that discipline in you, which I do not, and it sure looks like that guy back there does not either.
Oh.
Look at that. It's going to be a fun ride to watch. And I'll be here every step of the way to tell you, all right, at some point you're going to get past these. And you're like, probably not. Probably not. Unbelievable.
Until I get a tank.
So there are tanks for sale. I have looked into a potential tank to buy. The Ford Bronco, though, on your dry erase board.
Yeah, seriously.
Who's back? Ford Bronco. That couldn't be more true. I've always enjoyed those shaped cars. So my first car was a Jeep Wrangler. Jeep Lightning is what it was called. Go Jeep Lightning. You're crawling down the track. My Jeep could not go the speed limit on a lot of roads, but it was a great time. Loved it. Used to park that sumbitch up on a snowbank like this at school if there was no spots open. I mean, it was this thing was beat to hell, but it was a stallion of a Jeep. And I always enjoyed the shape of it. I always enjoyed the shape of it. So then as I get older, we get the Escalade, kind of has that same blocky, and then Escalade completely changed how they look. And then as you look into cars, there's like the old school FJ Cruiser, which everybody thinks that whenever they saw the new Bronco that was was debuted last night in its entirety. I think it was on the movie Rampage with The Rock a couple years back, by the way. That's when I think everybody fell in love with it. But whenever it was debuted last night, everybody was like, oh, that looks like a Toyota FJ Cruiser. And then younger folks who Googled Toyota FJ Cruiser got the modern version of that. But if you go back to like 1984, the FJ Cruiser was this blocky, boxy looking, badass looking vehicle. Looks like a safari vehicle. And then if you look at the G-Wagon from Mercedes, and then you put the Jeep in there a little bit, and then a Range Rover, and if they were all to bukkake on a new SUV, it would be this Bronco, and it is a beautiful bukkake. I mean, it is. I'm looking to get in line. I assume that waiting list is going to be a very, very long one. I haven't seen a lot of hype like this around a car since like Tesla's maybe Cybertruck. But this thing, I think Bronco got it right. And I can't believe he made a comeback, especially after what OJ did with that damn thing on the internationally televised longest police chase by a celebrity in the history of Earth. Then everybody's just like, yeah, he killed her. Everybody's just assuming he killed her. And then now Bronco's like, yeah, but it wasn't us, though. Remember? Hey, it was not us. Listen, it was the person in there. It wasn't we had a big commercial there. A lot of people saw the Bronco run until the wheels came off. Almost, you know what I mean? And then that thing had
gas mileage.
Hey, that Ford Bronco, the new one, is beautiful. I like the two-door one personally, and I think once you start getting people, and we talked a little bit off air about this, once you start getting like these custom companies start getting their whole hands on it. It's like Shelby, for instance. I have a Shelby GT Mustang. It has, we've really rattled off basically a lot of things that I own. I have a Shelby. It has like 600 and some horsepower in it. It's obviously a 6-speed. It's awesome. And I wrapped that around a tree in my driveway because I was Tokyo drifting around.
Happens.
Nice. Which, by the way, I was very good all the way up until that moment.
Yeah.
I didn't know that a pothole had popped up in my driveway. And I'll tell you what really hurts the drifting game. A pothole can get you. I used to be able to really... So as soon as you get like a car that's like that, that's rear wheel drive and has all that power, if you accidentally just get a little heavy on that thing, it'll, right? So I'd never been in something like that before. So I was in a parking lot and I started doing like a little, I was like, I feel like I could probably drift this thing a little bit. I started drifting a little bit, started getting confident, started stopping in other parking lots to keep doing it. And then one time you tried to do it in the driveway around the circle in the front, you just wrap that around a tree and total that damn thing. Got to get it fixed because you're too embarrassed to say to anybody that you totaled it. And I'm not speaking for myself, I'm speaking for somebody else if I was to do something like that. But I think like the Shelby people who are in Las Vegas, Nevada, if they get a hold of this Bronco and they put a Shelby engine in it, which I saw in Jay Leno's garage, that Ford Bronco might be my dream car.
Dangerous.
That might be my dream car if that could happen. It's going to roll.
Yeah, it's going to roll.
I mean, you're going to roll that thing. If my Jeep had any more engine power in it in high school, we probably would have rolled that thing no less than 20, 30 times at that point. But, I mean, that Bronco is beautiful. And not normally does the internet agree on things. No. And a majority of the internet was on their side. Now, granted, there was the people who were like, oh, it's ugly, but those people would never drive a car that looks like that.
Right.
The people that drive cars that look like that, I think all were on the same page. Like, yep, that thing was gorgeous.
You should put a roll cage in one of them.
Yeah,
babies.
exactly. You one of them
I didn't know the
NASCAR
doors
roll
came
cages.
off either.
That two-door on the left there, that orange one, like, I hate orange cars, too. I would buy that. Like, if that was available and that was the only one available, I was like, give
How
me
much
that.
do you think it cost?
I have no idea.
I don't know how much it costs, but
I have no idea. Because if you go off of a supply and demand, my friend, which, Foxy,
That's business, baby.
that is, if you do that with the price, I would assume the price would be very, very high. The secondary market for these are going to be even higher than Ford's market, obviously. So, I don't know. It's going to be expensive as hell.
The base model starts under 30,000, and then obviously it
Oh, those things
starts going up.
Hey,
Under 30.
Hey, let's go. Let's go back to Detroit, though.
Ford is all the way back. Detroit's going to be back, and that means the Lions are going to the Super Bowl, baby.
Does the Bronco... Okay. All right.
I just happen to have the shirt on today.
Good shirt. By the way, great
Thank
day
you.
to have that shirt on
Thank
with
you.
what Ford did last night.
Yes, sir.
So, OJ almost killed the Bronco.
Oh, yeah.
And we brought the Bronco back to life, didn't we?
Hell yeah.
2020 brought the Bronco, you get it, back to life.
Bingo.
And what if it brings Ford back to life? And what if it does bring Detroit back to life? What's that, Ty?
The Lions aren't going to win the Super Bowl.
Matt Stafford, top 10 quarterback.
Thank you.
We'll go through Madden ratings after the break, actually 20 minutes after the hour has started. We need the NBA bubble to be shut down, okay? Listen, NBA players, I understand that. What's going on out there?
Can we not get a food runner, by the way? Like, hey, you can order Uber Eats, but just drop it off with the food runner.
What's going on with the music right now? Do we have Okay, there we go.
There it is.
We've been having tech problems over here.
Oh, still are.
Power out.
Yeah, see, we've had power outages in our office like every night. It feels like.
Yeah, routine.
Tech does not
almost.
like being.
Is somebody coming to get us? You think somebody's like snipping our thing, like little click clack
Oh, well.
on our thing?
Have we talked about
Potentially.
anything that people might want to come after?
Oh, Nick! Oh, Nick! Oh, weren't you so funny yesterday? Now what? Our power
Now
goes
what?
out every single day.
Well, you guys forgot to mention when you were talking about O.J. Simpson that he was out partying in Vegas for his birthday without a mask on.
Stop.
Yeah.
OJ doesn't wear masks; he's wearing gloves. Okay, have a little bit of respect for that man.
Nice
Guy's made a
toners.
career off of it.
Hey man, you watch that OJ? What is it? The one that
Trial.
the
Cuba Gooding Jr.?
Cuba Gooding Jr. What is that called? People versus
Yeah.
OJ Simpson.
Yeah.
I watched that for the first time. I think within the last year because it was a long time ago, right? That was like
Yeah,
a few
a
years
couple
ago.
years ago.
I watched that for the first time. I did not know a lot of that stuff. I was so young. I just remember people being up in arms about it. But boy, it sure feels like he was a part of that.
Yeah,
Man.
he
It was
did
really
it.
it was really good, except for the Kardashian actor sucked really bad.
Oh, you hate the guy from
Schwimmer,
Friends.
David Schwimmer.
You
he
hate
was
the guy from
fantastic.
Friends.
If you think COVID is getting anywhere near OJ, you're out of your mind.
I
He
would
doesn't need
say
to wear a mask.
we have talked a couple times about what could potentially beat COVID. Diggs, high heart rate.
Yep.
Beats per minute up high. So Red Bull vodkas potentially
Yep.
could be the trick.
Can't get in the blood because it's
Now,
moving too fast.
A lot of scientists and doctors have told us that is false, but has it been tested? We don't know. Now, potentially being O.J. Simpson could potentially scare off COVID-19. Maybe.
Yeah.
Also, don't forget COVID, afraid of CTE, so will not be on a football field.
I'm just saying. This is the Pat McAfee Show.
Yep. Lucky to be here at the Northrop Hall with the incredible Trojan crowd. College game day is having a blast here. Minnesota has shown up. Row the boat, Sky U Mall, go Gophers. Let's get the axe and keep that thing in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The place is about to lose their minds. Ladies and gentlemen, watch a man maestro a crowd like Coach Lee Corso. Give it to him. Give it to him. To hell with it.
Watch, now he'll say to me, works every time, what?
Every time.
You just can't dog pee on a field. This obviously led to a nightmare situation for Luke Logan, who misses the extra point. An absolute pandemonium happened. But in Dwayne Haskins' defense, the Redskins and Dwayne Haskins might never win a game again. That guy's flexing like PJ Fleck a little bit. Good sells a little bit delayed. He got me the throw. Throw the flag. Sell your soul. Who hates Iowa? A lot of hate here in Minnesota, Maria. Hey, you look good, pal. For me, right after we leave this octagon, I'm going to Lake Minnetonka. I'm pulling a swordfish out of there. Then I'm going to stop by Paisley Park. I'm going to pay my respects to Prince in the Purple Rain. Then I'm going to walk into TCF Bank Stadium, and I'm going to say, Gophers 5,000 in Minnesota! Dun, dun. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. Earlier in the show, about 15, 20 minutes ago, I gave a plea to the Uber drivers, the DoorDash, the Postmates, the women, the men, whoever is going to see anybody in the NBA Dome, whether it's for a conjugal visit or a fornication visit or just a hello, dap up, how's it going, miss you. We just listen. I don't want to be this person, okay, because I think people should be together, okay? If you want to do whatever you got to do, your families do his thing, get food. I order from DoorDash, Uber Eats, Postmates, you name it, since none of those sponsor the show, all the ones you can think of every single day. Mm-hmm. But we just need 35, 40 days of no contact with those guys. Just 35, 40 days. Okay, and listen, the guys that are in there, it's going to get hard on them at times. Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. They're going to be rattled. They're going to get desperate at times. They're going to reach out. What we need is everybody else who isn't in there just to understand, like, hey, can't be doing this.
Don't enable them.
Can't do it. Won't do it. Because, boy, we need that to happen. And that, by the way, the NBA down there is going to look awesome, I think. Yeah. I think it is going to look awesome. The beginning shots here of what they're starting to set up for the coverage of the court, it's ball, and then it's, fishing, golfing, ping pong, everything like that. And then it's ball, and then when that competition starts kicking up and there's no fans and they have like 20-some cameras on there, it is going to be electric to watch. And it's going to be games all day. Then you copy or duplicate that with the NHL. I mean, we're about to hit a fairy tale land, but we need to make it to there first. And we need to be safe, obviously. And we need to buy a dome to not get penetrated by people potentially trying to get penetrated.
What restaurant do you think he got a 10-day quarantine for?
Great question. You know, it is a game-changing idea, though, by the way. The food just showing up at the house.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. What do I got to do? I just got to go here, and then they're going to charge me more, obviously, because they're taking advantage of my laziness, which, okay, I guess you'll upcharge me a little bit. But I get that here, and I don't have to see anybody do anything or leave my house, and I get to watch TV. Hello, bingo. Could have been anybody. Me. Those Applebee's ribs show up at the house every single night.
Geez. Funny you said that. I was going to go Applebee's app platter.
Yeah, have to get it.
Probably had both.
Won't do it. All right, let's pivot to the NFL. Joining us now is a man who breaks a lot of news in the NFL Network and host of Rap Sheet and Friends. Ladies and gentlemen, Ian Rappaport.
Attaboy!
Ian,
what's up? How you doing, man?
I'm great. How are you, Ian? How's now? Granted, considering the circumstances of the world, how are you doing?
I could be a lot worse. I don't know. I'm still upright. I haven't been sick yet. I have a job. So to me, like, that's in a pandemic. That's pretty good.
Hey, we're happy for you, brother. Really happy.
Appreciate it.
Me too, by the way.
Somehow, some way.
Somehow, some way. All right, let's talk about the NFL. There's so much that has to happen here. Now, I'll talk to you about the Patriots opening up some cap space. Are they going to somehow steal another incredible player for free when nobody else will sign him? And I'll talk to you about the Philadelphia Eagles just moving Jason Peters to guard after playing 17 years at tackle when I guess he was just a tight end and a defensive lineman at Arkansas. So he is a freak athlete, but that is an insane thing to do in year 17. But now let's talk about the rollout of the NFL coming back. Allegedly, this Saturday, the rookies for the Chiefs and Texans are supposed to report for training camp because rookies report a week before the vets, and they're the Thursday night game as opposed to the Sunday game. Are there any plans for what's going to happen with them when they check in and how this will be handled? Or are all those conversations just fluid at the moment that Richard Sherman was alluding to last night?
Well, I think we need to know, first of all, are those rookies actually going to report? Because right now they are scheduled to report, but as far as I can tell, neither of those teams have actually sent out the dates to players like, yes, you now need to show up. This is the time. This is the schedule. I believe they're in a little bit of a holding pattern right now as the NFL and the NFLPA kind of get together on these, labor talks and health and safety talks and financial talks and really everything to kind of figure out what the season's going to be like. So I know, obviously the clock is ticking. I believe where it stands now is the NFL is going to make a counteroffer to the NFLPA for their latest offer to try to figure out what everything's going to look like financially, how they're going to handle the cap in 2021, because obviously there's going to be a big revenue shortfall. So many things they need to figure out. only when we know a lot of those things are the rookies going to report. And so we're, I know it's less than a week away, so this probably sounds crazy, but we are not even there yet.
Well, that's whenever we were talking to Jet Passon, he was a friend of the show back in the day. Whenever we were talking to him through the
He's not a friend anymore?
Listen, you're 100% right. But with the MLB and the MLBPA, they're in the 11th hour like 45 times. Do you see the same type of thing potentially happening here with the NFL? Because this is not a long period of time to figure out a lot of very complicated things.
Yeah, it's possible. I thought about that a lot. And, baseball, for whatever reason, we report on the NFL negotiations and the NFLPA and what's happening. It's nowhere near the reporting in baseball. For whatever reason, the baseball reporting is like they basically roll out their offers through reporters, both sides. So that is really in the public. And what it has allowed fans to do, and I'm a big baseball fan as well, is criticize everyone. So baseball was a real mess for whatever reason. I don't think football is going to be like that, but I could see a situation where it really does come up against the
deadline
till it absolutely has to, especially when you're talking about millions of dollars. So, I have a hard time reacting to deals not being done yet up against a deadline. Because, both sides are going to wait to the last minute to pull out their best offer. Same with the, franchise tag deadline is tomorrow. There's some deals I know are not getting done. There's a lot of deals that are still up in the air just because you just never know who's going to make that one extra phone call. But I could see it getting into a situation where it gets real late and everyone's like, what's happening? And then it hopefully kind of works out.
Okay, let's hope it does work out. And if it does, let's talk about those franchise tags. Obviously, the one that everybody has talked about is the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, because this deal could have got done a year ago. Jerry Jones decided not to get the deal done. He comes out, has his best season, but new quarterback, new head coach, which is basically a new system, new quarterback guy, Mike McCarthy. They don't get a long-term deal done. Everybody's thinking he has signed a franchise tag already. What's going to happen? Is there going to be an 11th hour deal made, or is this going to be a franchise tag year to see if he and McCarthy get along?
Yeah, I mean, it's been really quiet. So I would never say that nothing is coming, right? Because I've seen it happen in the past. I remember a couple of these in the past where with the same agent, Todd France of CAA, where it looked like nothing was going to happen. Then on, Wednesday at 1:00, it's like, oh, actually, we may have something. So I would never rule anything out. I would just say right now it doesn't look close, and I don't sense any activity on either side. Dak Prescott wants a 4-year deal so he can re-up earlier. The Cowboys have all of their stars locked in on long-term deals, long-term deals, 6 years, 7 years more. They want the same. Amari Cooper signed a 5-year. They want the same with Dak. He doesn't want that. I don't know which side's going to cave, and it might be neither side. So you might see him play on the franchise tag again. And if he has a good season, and I mean, he's played it out. He's basically been playing it out his whole career. He's really setting himself up for some riches.
So whenever Jerry saw Patrick Mahomes' deal with Kansas City Chiefs, was there ever a thought, you think, in their eyes, like, hey, maybe we lock him down like this? You feel as if Jerry Jones wants Dak Prescott to be his quarterback for the long term, and the only issue is the 5-year 4 deal. It's not like Dak. There's not like a question whether or not Dak and McCarthy will get along, or if Dak is the guy for the future. If they could get a Chiefs deal done with Dak, they would if they could?
Oh, I mean, I think if they could do the Chiefs deal with Dak, they would have done it yesterday, a week ago, as soon as possible. I mean, the Cowboys love those kind of deals. They did one with Tyron Smith, their star left tackle. It's like a 10-year deal. He's locked in for a very long time. If they could do that with Dak, they would take it.
Wow.
They absolutely would take it. It's just Dak prefers a shorter-term deal, similar to Deshaun Watson. I know he'd like a shorter-term deal as well, and that's kind of where the trend is going. Now, for Patrick Mahomes' deal, the way it was structured, given that he was able to get a deal in a pandemic, there's something to be said for that as well. It's just not for everyone, and certainly not for these two quarterbacks.
$500 million is a good deal. I mean, if somebody...
No, it's not bad. I agree.
That is unbelievable. Now, let's talk about a team that has a little bit more cap space after what happened with Antonio Brown, where they gain an extra $4 million, I believe, or something like that. And then with Aaron Hernandez, where they gain an extra $2.5 million, and then the renegotiation of Burkhead's deal, which ups them to $7.79 million worth of cap space. We saw them land Cam Newton for $1 million bucks or whatever it is, and with the incentives going all the way up, when 31 other teams somehow wouldn't sign Cam Newton to any deal, the Patriots yet again somehow find a way to find a guy who's more driven than he's ever been, more motivated than he's ever been, and they get him at a price tag that's just unheard of, especially for a former MVP who's still in the middle of his prime if he can remain healthy. What moves do you see the Patriots making? Because Jadeveon Clowney, it is alleged that he's turned down $12, $13 million offers from people.
That's true.
What is he waiting on? Is he waiting on the right spot? Like, if the Patriots were to offer Jadeveon Clowney a very small deal, is it like, okay, that's a spot for me? Or what do you think the Patriots do with this money?
No, I think Clowney wants to get paid. And I think his thinking is, and I know this was a Patriots question, but I'll hit on Clowney first. Yeah. Clowney's basically thinking is like, where can I get paid as much as possible? And if I don't have to go to training camp for a lot of it, like, yeah, that'll probably be okay. Remember, he did that last year. Made $15 million in late August or early September. I forget when it was. And that worked out fine. I mean, I think for him, it's like, why would I not do the same? Also, like, do you think he missed anything in the spring? Like, missed some Zoom meetings. I mean, I'm on a Zoom meeting right now. It's not that exciting, no offense. I think Clowney would just like to make a lot of money. I don't think he would take – I know he wants a one-year deal. I don't think he would take just a little tiny deal from the Patriots. To me, this is more about, like, signing their draft picks and making sure they have flexibility to do, like, let's say what the Eagles just did with Jason Peters, which is, look, if something terrible happens and we need to spend an extra $2 million on a guard or running back or something, like, we need to have a little flexibility. The other thing I would say is, imagine if Clowney had waited. Patriots have $7 million of cap space now. Or imagine if Cam had waited.
Oh, yeah.
They have $7 million of cap space now. Like, probably could have got some more money.
I think he was tired of waiting.
I think he was tired of waiting.
I saw it in the middle, and I was too, by the way. I was tired of waiting for who was going to sign Cam Newton. I'm like, this guy,
Same.
Let's get him. What are we doing?
Well, welcome to my life.
Yeah. Hey, you just got a text message in the middle of your statement there I saw while you were talking about Zoom potentially. Is that like Roger Goodell saying, hey, Ian, this is what we're thinking about doing? Like, what is it like, hey, this Bill Belichick, what's going on? Like, what is your insider life like? Is that potentially a possibility in your life every single day?
Yes. The really, like, so I have I wear a very regular watch. I'm actually not wearing it right now, but I wear a very nice regular watch.
Ooh,
and
wow.
I'm not like
big ball.
And I have a discussion with my wife all the time about whether I should have an Apple Watch. So I would spend my whole life going like this, checking my phone all the time. Because if I had an Apple Watch, I would just glance down. That would be much better. But yes, every second could be like a random text with some real news. And the scariest thing to me is out of the blue when I get some major piece of news that I was not expecting. Like just now I was out of my car searching for my AirPods and I got a text that the Eagles are signing Jason Peters, and I had to react very quickly to tweet it before somebody else, which I did, so go me, but you just never know when that's going to happen. So if I'd put the phone down to search for the AirPods, I would have missed it. That happens all the time. And that's basically my life.
Do you get like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. messages for anybody, or the decision makers normally asleep by that time? Do you get like all hours of the night?
All hours.
Is there?
And that's one thing. I've worked very hard to make everyone know that I will always answer the phone. So during free agency, or you're talking to people on the East Coast, talking to people on the West Coast, like I'll get messages where I'll wake up early and be like, "Oh my God, I got this piece of news. Is this out there?" Like, had anyone tweeted this in the 2 hours I was sleeping where I got it and didn't check it? Like that happens, and it's very nerve-wracking because, like, in the morning I need like coffee to help me function, and sometimes I haven't had my coffee yet, and I got the text, and I'm like, like, what do I do? Is this out there? So that happens as well.
What's the biggest story you think you've broke?
Oh man, I know what the biggest story for me was. Like, just for me personally, it was when Lovie Smith got fired by the Bears, because that was my first really big story as an insider. It was like 8 years ago or something. But to me, that was probably the biggest one personally I've ever broken, because I'm like, all right, I've worked for this. I like made all the calls. I actually broke it. Like, okay, maybe I can do this job. As far as like the others, like it's hard to remember the big ones. I mean,
So many.
no. I would say like I was very happy to break that Gronk was coming back this year. That made me feel good. That was a good one. I can tell you a lot of horrendous losses though. Stuff I've held and wasn't able to put out, or stuff where I didn't see my phone, or put my phone down and someone else broke it, or like, someone lied to me, and then I got a lot of those stories. But the big wins, I feel like I forget about. Obviously, just because there's so many.
What's that called? The one that got away? What's the
Great White Buffalo.
The white whale.
The white? Yeah, that one. What the Great White Buffalo?
Yeah, GWB.
Are they the same thing?
I've never heard
same
that's
concept.
fake. There's no way that's real. That's like one of those things where you give like 5 names and it's like pick the fake one. That's one of those.
Wait till you see the human that actually said it.
That's real. That's a real thing. Great White Buffalo's real. Dead
It's
serious.
happening right now.
Okay, so what is your Great White Buffalo then? What is the big one that you wish you could have broke, but maybe you napped or snoozed or accidentally had your phone down?
So, very weirdly, also involves Lovie Smith. This was one, and it happened very early on in my insider career. Is when he was getting hired by the Bucks. So same offseason, or I can't remember the same offseason, the next offseason. My kids are now 5 and 7, or almost 7, and this was when my oldest was like a, tiny baby, like 5 months, and was whining and crying like babies do, or like at least this one did. I put my phone down on the couch, went upstairs to go change him and do whatever dads do, dance him around or whatever. And I told my wife, bring my phone up. She was taking her sweet time washing bottles in the sink, and she comes racing up like 7 minutes later and is like, your phone rang twice, same number. And I like mild heart attack.
Drop the kid.
Thank God, no.
Drop the
And
child.
then I grab the phone, call back. It's like, Bucks are hiring Lovey. I'm like, oh my God, is it out? I'm like, yeah, Jay Glazer just broke it.
Oh.
And then it's like, why didn't you answer your phone? And I'm like, I never I'm a pretty relaxed kind of guy. I never curse and yell, and that was one of the times where I had to make an exception, because and that one, of all the things that stick with me from my career, like that one's still I feel pain right now talking about that with you.
Well, I'm happy we could take you there. Jay Glazer got you this
appreciate it.
offseason too with the first COVID test in the NFL. That one played out well. That one. Whoa, Ian, take it easy. What are you laughing about?
I love Jay. He has done
Me too.
a great job, and he is a great person, and don't beat me up.
Well, I do too, though, by the way. We all feel that way about Jay. I think that's why when it happened, everybody was like, Jay, Jay, come on, Jay. You're better than that. Jay, before we let you go,
No comment.
we can't thank you enough for your time, Ian. You're the man. I assume you've probably gotten 4 pieces of information already. What is something that's going to break, or do you know, like the lead up? You said something's come out of nowhere, like the Jason Peters back to the Philadelphia Eagles to play guard instead of tackle for $3 million,
Right.
upside of 6. Do you know when things are kind of building? Like, do people give you a heads up? And is there any massive breaking news coming anytime soon? I guess with franchise tag, but anything else that we should keep an eye out for?
I don't know of any major, massive things right now. I mean, the season getting delayed, if that happened, that would be massive. But I don't think that's coming. But I mean, I don't know. But yes, I do get either I'll get a heads up, or what happens a lot of times is I'll kind of catch wind of something like a trade. This happens with trades a lot, where it's like, hey, I hear this, and I'll reach out to the team or reach out to the agent, like, oh, can you just keep this unbelievably quiet? Because if it was public now, it would ruin the trade, and we'll take care of you when it happens. And that happens, trades a lot, just because. And I want to break every story, but I don't really need to be ruining trades if they get out.
Yeah.
That's happened before. So those are ones where or contracts. Hey, this is coming. Get ready. Get your tweet ready. So that happens a lot.
Ian, any Antonio Brown news floating around out there?
That is something first of all, I don't know of anything imminent, but that's obviously one of the big things that we're all kind of trying to figure out. Like, he's got several teams interested. I know that, we've talked about some Seahawks, Texans, there's a couple of them. I think everybody wants to know how long his suspension is going to be. Hard to sign him before knowing how much he's actually going to play. Is he suspended 6 games? Is he suspended 8 games or more? Or maybe, I guess, possibly less. I don't know. But he's probably facing some suspension. So I think everybody would like to know what is actually his suspension before they sign him. But I do believe he's going to be in the NFL in 2020.
Okay. Hey, what a comeback story that would be for the guy who was once the greatest wide receiver in the game, now potentially AB 2.0. He put out a tweet last night, says he's going. I can't wait to follow along, see if you break that news, or if you Great White Buffalo and miss that thing.
Let's hope for the break. That would be better for me.
Yeah, I hope you break. Is that what it's called? You got a break?
Just say breaking news. I wouldn't, I would say get a little breaking news, get a little scoop.
Do you have a score?
Wouldn't say scoopage though.
Do you guys have a
scoopage?
a little scoopage? Tony Scoops. We got a scoop.
Tony Scoops,
We got Tony Scoops.
I confirm all your news.
He confirms your stuff. He can confirm. So just
Appreciate it.
Yeah, we got a checker in Tony Scoops. Do you guys have like a scoreboard? Like, do you know who's winning each year?
I mean, in my head, I know when I can't, it's a rolling tally. I would say it's a rolling tally. I'm sure only 2 people care about it in the whole world. But I think the 2 who care very much.
Yeah, but also the people that are paying you should definitely know as well. Something that if I was your agent, I'd be like, listen, you saw
believe me, I let them know.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, insider for the NFL Network and host of Rap Sheet and Friends, a man who's about to get a big break with the scoopage, dog, Ian Rappaport. Thank you, Ian.
Rap sheet.
You know what's cool about Ian? He was a part of my retirement press conference with Barstool, and that he held that for 9 hours because of the comedic story of it. He was actually in the press conference, was a part of the press conference, and then left. And then he held that for 9 hours until it debuted that night, which is, by the way, I guess he probably thought it wasn't that big a deal, maybe.
Or was he assured that he was the only one that knew?
There was another reporter in there we'll talk about. Greg Olson was also in there.
Oh, wow. That's right.
I got to go run to the bathroom. How much time we got like a minute and a half here?
Yeah, I think so.
During a commercial break? We want to do a commercial break. I couldn't hear anything.
Yeah, give or take. I think you got time.
Yeah.
Yeah, if not, we'll figure it out.
I'm going to do the piss derby. We're back in a couple minutes, or like maybe a minute here. Yeah, and you got to read an ad. Oh, perfect. So I can.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right. Good for the bladder. Yeah. Get a little bit more in here.
Simply Safe is the home security for right now. When feeling safe at home has never been more important. Simply Safe was designed to be easy to use while protecting your whole home 24/7. No technician or salesperson. You do it all yourself. It was the best home security of 2020. Head to simplysafe.com/Pat and get free shipping and a 6-day money-back guarantee. That's simplysafe.com/Pat to make sure they know that our show sent you.
Good boy, Tony.
Shout out, Tony. Way to go. simplysafe.com/Pat. Not a bad first hour. We talked about everything happening in the sports world. The bubble's being penetrated already down there in Orlando, potentially. Will they be able to put a lockdown on the dome? And I think the humans outside the dome should put the lockdown down. We should agree not to do this because the NBA is going to be awesome if it's back. And to the NBA players, I am so sorry that this has to happen, but hey,
We need it.
we need it. We're back on the other side of the hour for the radio listeners. We got Eddie Olczyk joining us in hour two. This should be fun. Yes. So we had 1 minute there.
Very interesting.
We had 1 minute there as soon as we got back from the bathroom. That's the difference with that's why I'm not a good radio show host, you know?
You nailed it, though, for that minute.
For the bathroom there? Oh, you're talking about the radio to kind of close it out?
Yeah.
The phone thing's broken. Is there people on the phone?
Yeah, absolutely. 5. Ben from Florida is a nice guy.
My phone, the screen's been broken over here. Internet's not working over here. Yeah. Can't really, what is going on down here?
It's not good.
What is going on in this studio? Zito's over there grinding away trying to figure out. He's like a mouse on the wheel.
So earlier, it was 2 wires I put back together, and now I just don't know what's going on.
And you find that third one.
Zito, did you go to school for like production and all that stuff?
Nope, Parks and Rec major.
Hell yeah.
What do? You just think if that connects to that and that connects to that, we should.
A plus B squared equals C squared. Everyone knows that, Pat.
Well, A squared, actually.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a Pythagorean theorem.
Yes.
I didn't know that A was square dancing.
Well said.
Pythagorean.
Yeah, Pythagorean. Pythagorean?
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Pythagorean.
Heard it both ways.
Pythagorean theorem.
Is there anything to watch on Netflix or anything?
Oh, yeah. The old guard.
Really? That was up there on the... I feel like the trending thing, by the way, is just Netflix telling you what to watch. I don't think everybody's watching that. I think that's one big lie.
They also push their own stuff. You see a
that's
lot of
what I'm saying.
Netflix-made stuff on there.
Yeah, not a bad play, by the way. I guess if I'm Netflix, I'm doing the same exact thing.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch Supermarket Sweep?
Oh.
Yeah, from back in the day?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They put like a best of collection on Netflix. I've just been speeding through that. It is so good.
Well,
Still holds up.
I love Guys Grocery Games.
Oh, yeah.
Which, rather similar operation there. Supermarket Sweep was good. Who was the host of that thing? Mark something.
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
Mark Brunell?
He's kind of a whistle, but
Mark
he's
the
pretty
Shag?
good. He
Not
holds everything
Brunell.
together.
Not Brunel, unfortunately.
All right. There's like 45 things happening on my phone right now. I'm getting asked questions in the middle of the show here. Why these people don't they don't even know me if they're asking me questions right now. I'm obviously busy right now, 10 to noon.
What are we doing?
Well, then the lack of Wi-Fi is a problem because during the bathroom break, I was going to be able to answer all those, but guess what? Couldn't find anything, couldn't get anything through. Nothing was loading. So we are entrenched in battle Tuesday, July 14th. But it's nothing like what the NFL and the NFLPA will be going through.
So there's no way they report on Saturday.
No way. No chance they report on
They're
Saturday.
supposed to be tested, Thursday? So
It has to be 48 hours before. So is it 48 hours before you check in or 48 hours before the day you go? There's a lot of testing that has to be done for us if we want to go on our honeymoon or whatever. We have to get tested within a certain amount of time before you go somewhere. But then if you take a certain test, it won't be back in a certain amount of time that you take. So there's quite a battle here. We have to find a specific test to get to be able to do this. It has to be certified and all this other shit. It is.
What the hell is going on?
Well, it's a wild time. You got to be safe back there. That's why you got to wear those glasses, that hoodie, that headband, and everything you got going on your chest. That's why you have to be safe out here.
And the glasses, too. You think they just cover your face, right? You think they just cover your eyes?
Oh, it's also
that'll work.
duplicates as a mask.
Duplicates as a mask. Pretty good.
Remember whenever they were saying that your eyes could get it?
Oh, yeah. Some guy got it through a contact.
On an airplane.
Contact lens.
No.
Slipped in there.
Did he really, though?
Slipped
Did he?
in
That
there.
seems like that was probably a fucking lie way back then.
COVID doesn't survive at 30,000 feet.
So. Is that a Diggs fact?
We'll check it out.
Diggs fact?
Tony Scoops.
Nobody got through a contact.
No, they were banging that drum pretty loudly.
Hard.
Yeah.
Don't even look at
Don't
COVID.
put your fucking contacts in, all right?
Don't just stay blind and don't look at anybody.
That's right. Stay in your goddamn house.
Will we ever remember those first couple weeks about what was being said about COVID.
Tiger King.
Bro, don't forget, fuck Tiger King. Tiger King was a big deal. Got us all through something there together. I think it's a little bit past now. Joe Exotic might be.
Is he dead
DOA.
yet?
I'm not 100% sure. I think a lot of people would like him. There are a lot of things came out since then.
True.
But remember how COVID was being talked about there at the beginning? They had people with nets putting it over people's faces who they thought they had it and tackling them and spearing them back behind things. I mean, it was chaos. I mean, it was absolute chaos there the first couple of weeks.
If you got it, you were undoubtedly dead.
Dead. Don't even.
Like, without question.
We don't know. We're not doctors. We don't know if that first strand is different than what it currently is. But boy, that first couple of weeks, I cannot wait to tell my kids about. Like, hey, we lived in a time when they shut it fucking down. What's it? Everything. And then they were telling us if you even think about getting it and then leaving the area, they built a hospital out in a section of town where they could just kind of quarantine people. You're still quarantining people though, I guess. So that first strand though, that motherfucker played no games. No. The way it was being talked about was like, hey, this thing, it'll come off the top rope like Macho Man.
Hallucinations.
Don't even fucking think about it. Don't even look at it. Here we go. Good morning, beautiful people. It is Tuesday, July 14th, 2020. All the boys are here at Nick Morodo, who went on a rant yesterday about Billard Smith that people were really, really resonating with on the internet. I did not expect as many people to have Nick's side here in this entire battle, but Billard's living a tough life right now, and we had to address it yesterday. Ain't that right, Nick?
Yeah, people are fed up. They're done with it, and I'm done with it. I don't want to talk about the guy anymore. I didn't want to talk about it yesterday. We had to, and here we are. You know, we're moving past it.
Oh, you loved it, though. You were reading
I didn't love it.
Yeah?
I don't love it. I didn't love it. I never will love it. I don't like talking about the guy. People send me clips. They send me little snippets of what he does. I try to ignore it.
Yeah.
Well, you were the snippet that everybody was sending around in the Will Smith hate club yesterday. So,
Oh, it's a damn shame.
hope you're proud of yourself. Hope you're proud of yourself. At Tone Diggs, I don't think you've ever been a part of that club, and I'm thankful for that. You're a Fresh Prince fan.
Love the guy.
Yeah, we try not to learn about him. Listen. I just want to watch Men in Black a couple times. Let me get jiggy with it. Let me listen to Miami, and then I'll watch him bungee jump off a helicopter for his 50th birthday. What a hero, this guy. That's how I'll do. Everything else, I just don't need to hear about our Fresh Prince. Ain't that right, Diggs?
Yeah, I didn't understand why he would go on a show and air out his dirty laundry for the entire country. Let's keep that in-house.
You're disappointed in him, it sounds like.
I just don't understand why you agree to that.
Let's talk about what we talked to Ian Rappaport about, how the MLB and the MLBPA, how they're negotiating to get back to baseball in the local stadiums, which involves governors and people having to loosen laws. And then everybody knows the financial negotiation was just very blatant, very PR. It was bad. It was bad for the MLB and bad for the MLBPA, especially in the middle of the pandemic and everything like that. And Ian Rappaport joined us in the first hour, and he talked about how the MLB and the MLBPA, they actually roll out their proposals to the other side via the media. So it's not like there's any conversations happening behind closed doors. It's basically public and then private, which is very different than the NFL, because I was fearing that the NFL and the NFLPA for the next couple of weeks was potentially going to get as ugly as the MLB and the MLBPA, because the NFL is obviously a much larger sport and there's going to be bigger numbers to talk about. But Ian Rappaport made me believe, and he is an insider who would know, that this won't get too ugly, but he sounds pretty pessimistic about this reporting to training camp on Saturday, let the rookies 3 days after that, and then training camp to begin with at this particular time.
Yeah, which is fine. We don't need them to report right now. We got a little bit of time, but I think it's good news that literally the only thing that came out of the meetings yesterday was Richard Sherman saying it was a pretty good meeting. I feel like that's a good sign. Then when the baseball was happening, there was just terrible, terrible news coming out every single meeting. And for Richard, who is not afraid to tell it how it is, for him to come out and say it was a good meeting, I think it was a pretty good sign.
Yeah, and also he said they were honest. We were blunt. We were honest, and player safety won't be compromised. And remember, this is a new Roger Goodell. This is a Roger Goodell that's in his basement eating M&Ms. He knows that he's probably not going to be the commissioner when another CBA comes around 9 years from now. Or 10 years from now. He's probably just trying to maybe save this Roger Goodell image of being a guy that gets things done. You got to remember, his players made a video asking him to do something. He did it literally the next day for the Black Lives Matter, for all the young stars. He did it literally the next day. Is this a new Roger Goodell? Is this negotiation with the NFLPA, which everybody's assuming is going to be a knock down, drag out fight, going to go actually rather well because they're on the same page, a la Adam Silver in the MBPA and Gary Bettman in the NHLPA? This would be a very big deal if this was handled like kosher, behind closed doors, with not a big drama coming out of it.
And to your point, So the initial offer from the NFL, 35% escrow came out, and then the players came back with their offer. And you didn't hear one leak about owners or NFL or anything like that, or Roger Goodell come out and saying, like, no, the offer that they sent back is trash. Like, there was none of that. So it seems like as if it's all being done behind closed doors, which you always say is a great thing.
But just like the bubble, hey, day 1, day 2, day 3 look like a great time in the bubble.
Mm-hmm.
We're fishing. We're catching big old bass down here. They were catching fish that were big old fish.
I'm sure the NBA stocked those pretty nicely.
Hey, we're golfing. We're shotgunning beers. We're playing ping pong. We're playing basketball. And then you think like a couple of days in, like when does it? They're getting food to our hotel. We're bringing in food to the hotel. At what point does it get tired? They're already ordering food from outside. Yeah. Okay. They're already reaching out to potentially get them in there. It would be very difficult to be a human down there and be told that you can't do anything, especially when you're 20 years old, 21 years old, 22 years old, and you're just out there like, hey man, come on, I know you feel invincible almost at that point. And it's just, it's going to be interesting as these negotiations go. If they don't get a deal done in the first 4 or 5 days, the blame game will start happening, okay? And then once the blame game starts happening, let's hope that the blame game happens behind closed doors as opposed to publicly, because nobody wants to hear it. But boy, we are up against the clock. 14 days until training camp is supposed to start, and that is, you do the math, 14 days. Almost 2 weeks, dude.
Yeah,
almost 2 weeks. At Ty Schmidt, Aaron Rodgers was golfing this past weekend out at the American Century Championship. What did you get from looking at his body, how athletic he was, and his shaved beard he had?
Well, he was pin seeking as usual. I mean, he doesn't know how to do anything else. So I think he kind of got screwed over. I think the back was maybe a little tight, but you
his
look.
back's tight.
What?
What do you mean?
Per sources? Wait.
Listen.
Did Rappaport tweet to break this?
No, that's just me looking at his golf swing and just saying, it looks like his back might be a little tight. And then the Madden stuff comes out with his rating, just absolutely no respect. So like I said, just keep fueling Raji's fire. He's going to be ready if we have a season.
Let's talk about these Madden ratings, shall we? These Madden ratings every single year cause quite a stir for numerous reasons, okay? The Madden video game, by the way, awesome video game. For those that play video games, they say it's a great video game. Now, granted, I guess the graphics and things haven't really changed the graphics have been updated, but nothing else in the game has really been changed for like 10 years or so.
Yeah, it's a massive scam, but, to each their own.
Hey, new players.
I buy it every year.
Got Burrow this year.
Fix Madden or something like that. There's a whole trend going on amongst Madden players on the internet saying, hey, Madden should be better than it is. But whatever, wildly popular game. And the more popular you are, the more skeptics you obviously bring because more people are seeing your product and expectations are probably a little bit higher. They haven't been able to live up to those expectations of a lot of the Madden loyalists and the Madden purists. But the Madden loyalists and Madden purists are buying it every single year and playing. The game is always a big deal. And then the players, obviously now, a lot more publicly getting, their reactions to their rating scores, which is a human who might not have never played football before. Okay, now I'm sure at this stage of the game, Madden has people that are former scouts or something doing it. But at the beginning there, you had no idea if the person ever played football before. Who's doing this rating? Who is judging things? And those rating scores were always something that were kind of frustrating to some NFL players, I will say. Now, we're seeing rookies. Chad Ochocinco was debuting Madden ratings to rookie wide receivers. I believe there was a couple other rookies that got their scores. And you see them be upset because it's always in the 70s. And that's because we have no idea if you can play against men or not. Okay, so that is, like, I don't have any ill will towards a Madden score towards a rookie that's low. It's literally because there's a lot more that miss in the NFL than hit in the NFL. College superstars, everybody that goes to the NFL and gets drafted high, by the way, college superstar, that's why they got drafted high. And there's a lot of misses that happen like that. So it's kind of just understood that the rookies are going to be a little bit lower rated until they can figure out whether or not they can get off, I don't know, a grown man jam or if they can maybe block there's just a lot to find out about those young guys. So I think the lower scores for the young guys, although I could see that as disrespectful to them because they've always been studs and they know what they're going to do. You could see how the Madden adjudicator could potentially see, like, who knows if this person's going to do it. But once you start getting into the veteran scores, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, and you prove that you're good, and now you got somebody that you don't know and have no idea what their credentials are, literally putting a number on you out of 100, and now there's millions and millions millions of people who might not be a fan of your team, but the only way they know of how good you are at football is via your Madden rating, okay? So then you got an entire legion of humans judging the way you play football and how strong you are and how far you can throw and your tackling ability and how fast you are. That is all being judged by somebody that you've never met before, somebody that's never seen you work out. And that is how millions of people are viewing you as to the T, because there's an actual number and easy system to judge you for there. That could be a bit frustrating, you could see. You know, Lamar Jackson got 94. He said he wasn't happy about it. It was higher than last year. He thinks he just came off the MVP season, and he was on the cover of Madden, and he didn't get a 99 or anything like that. Patrick Mahomes did get one. Lamar Jackson was a little bit upset about it. Aaron Rodgers, 89 overall, not even a 90%. This guy's a B quarterback, they say. 89 is a B in every single thing. Aaron Rodgers is a B quarterback in the Madden ratings, and this is how you got to look at it. And I very much understand if you're a veteran quarterback or a veteran football player and you feel like you've been misjudged by Madden, why you would be upset. Even if you don't play like me, my brother plays, my brother's friends plays. I got to get text messages back in the day when my rating was trash. It's like, you were terrible in this game or whatever. It's not fun being you because whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, but in real life, I'm good. They're like, listen to this. They got you as like a 30 speed. They got you at like a 20 tackle. Your arm thing is low. And this is afterwards. The first couple years, whenever I was getting my Madden rating, okay, my first couple years getting my Madden rating, I was not happy about it. And I didn't play video games. So the only thing I ever heard from was my friends who played video games, my brother's friends who played video games, about how terrible I was. So every single year Madden comes in, because you get a Madden check because they have a deal with the NFLPA, and Madden comes in with a game and a backpack, and it's like a thank you for being a part of the game, and we're happy to do business with you. And everybody's all happy. And then people start knowing their rating, and then the next year you got to go in there and let them know, like, hey, you guys had me at a 15 tackle rating. Do you watch any film? Oh, we watch a lot of film. No, you don't. Like, you don't watch. I literally pick people up and spear them. Like, my tackle rating, just because I'm a punter doesn't mean it should be a 15 or a 20. They're like, we'll look at it in the future or whatever. I'm like, well, how about arms? Have you ever seen me throw a football? Have we ever ran a fake here where I throw a football? So why are you saying my arm is 50? I could go out there and sling that thing 65 yards right now. Why is my arm rating so low? They're like, well, you haven't shown it on film. So yeah, but if you're studying the person, you should find the film. You should look into I don't need you putting me looking bad out to everybody when you haven't done your rating. So I had that actual conversation with an adjudicator, okay? And it was obviously very entertaining. Everybody enjoyed me and this person bantering back and forth. And a couple of years later, we throw a fake, get a couple more national televised tackles, and all of a sudden, Madden people started showing me a little bit more respect. And I went up to them and I let them know, like, hey, listen, I appreciate what you guys have done. I didn't take the bag and I didn't take the game the first couple of years because of how low I was. I was like, I don't want to remember this. But once I felt like they had showed me enough, I started taking it. I started thanking them. I started promoting the game, obviously. And it was a much better time for all of us. But I felt very disrespected there for a while. And then they came up, obviously. Tackle was up in the 68 or something like that. I mean, it really started to ride. Now, the short accuracy there, I believe, is at SAC, and it's only at a 30. I'm probably top 5 check down thrower in the world. Probably top 5.
Got film from out here.
Got film. I'm top 5 check down thrower in the world. So they've never seen me throw a check down. I only throw deep balls whenever I'm throwing an NFL game. So it's a little bit tough there. Then you got my speed at 72, which I don't know what everybody else is at, so I'm not going to judge. Okay, I'm not going to judge anybody. I don't know what everybody else is at. I would like to see who they say is faster than me, though, and potentially eyeball and then get out some film and potentially look at. But these are the things that you could potentially break down if you're a player and be like, oh, so they got me at 97 kick power? Okay, is anybody stronger than that? I would like to know who they think is stronger than that then. And you automatically start getting into your own brain. But boy, at the end of my career, my relationship with Madden was a lot better than it was at the beginning of the year. And I stunk at the beginning of my year. And then I got better. And that's why I think the rookies getting upset is very understandable. But boy, they have no idea if you're going to be worth a single damn or not.
I mean, and that is just an absolute slap at punters because it says you are the highest rated punter in 86. The game and you're only an 86.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah, believe me. Don't worry. This was the nicest they were to me. And I was not thrilled about it. Yeah.
Wait, the best punter can't be at least a 95?
I mean, I was a 94, I think, one year. They had me at 90-something or 93 or
Saw
something.
a 95 as well in 2016, I thought.
Yeah, I think so I had the best year of my life, and then you guys dropped me down a little bit. Why? Because I'm a little bit older? They must have known I was retiring. This guy's thinking about getting out of the game. Yeah, but you're right. I mean, that's completely disrespectful for the brand. But who's the adjudicator? Nobody knows. And that, I believe, is the biggest thing.
So when they come in and they give you the book bags in the game and stuff, is the Madden ratings guys in there? Is there a chance to talk to them in there?
That's a great question because I never fully confirmed whether or not the person that I was arguing with was it a ratings adjuster or not. That could have just been literal PR person that's there for the bag.
Some intern.
I still, as I was telling the story there, I was looking at the person and I wanted to say I was yelling at the adjudicator, but I don't remember if that person was
Come
an
outside
adjudicator.
with me. Come outside with me, stand 65 yards away. I'm going to throw this
All
ball
right,
at
I'm
you.
going to throw you. I'm going to hit you right in the face and I want you to go right into your little coding thing and I would like that thing get bumped up a little bit. Then you want to race? What's your speed? What do you think your speed is? What? Well, I'm probably 40. Okay, so I got to beat you by how much up this thing to at least 75 to 80? Is there a mathematical equation? That's what guys start thinking, though, whenever they see it. They're like, 90, what? Well, go ahead.
Did they ever call you in and do when they put the suit on you with the spears on it?
No, that'd be cool, though. If I ever get into a video game where they want to know what my motion is, that would be pretty cool. There's some video games that have made me look good and some that have made me look very bad. I was obviously in the NCAA game as well, and they built me like an offensive lineman. I was a tank, dude. At that point, I think I was 240, 245. Strength and conditioning All-American, no big deal. Went to Barwood Beach. Hang cleaning 365 or something like that.
Big body.
Yeah, I was very large.
Do you have long hair back then, too?
It depends. I had long hair at one point. I was bald at one point. College, we did a lot of stuff with the hair. It was almost like the bubble, but we got to party and stuff. But I was just, living in a little bubble over there in Morgantown, West Virginia. What a place. But those Madden ratings definitely cause for conversation every time they pop up. Every single time.
You ever see a player in the locker room?
Brilliant idea.
Get a bag, pretty excited about it, and then find out their rating and basically throw it out? Or no?
A lot of guys play Madden. So there's always an excitement for the game to be free and the Madden swag. I just didn't. So for me, it was a much different game. I just want to know how I was going to look on the game as opposed to how I was going to play the game. And there's a very different relationship between me and Madden. But now, hey, I'm a big fan of Madden. I feel like they did their due diligence after I had a word with whoever it was. And also I proved on tape what I was. And I think Madden is stern, but fair. But sometimes they can be absolutely dumb, too.
Well, you make a good point, too, because I'm sure that is for an entire generation of kids who never see someone play. They just look at him and Madden and they're like, oh, that guy stinks.
Yeah, it's
terrible.
Commentators will tell people what they're supposed to think about a position that nobody knows about, like punter or kicker. So if the commentators are like, this guy is average punter or whatever, it's okay, that's people's thoughts forever. Okay, he's average. And then the Madden game, they'll tell you exactly what people think. Those are the only two, especially for positions like punter and kicker where nobody knows who's good and who's not good because everything about it is situational. Because you might see me one game, maybe I'm on national TV, and our offense can't get it moving, and our defense is a bend but don't break. That means I'm probably going to have a full field a lot more. So if I just get to sit back there and bomb 60-yard bombs on national television, everybody's going to be like, oh, this guy bombs the ball. But what if our offense is doing good but can't score, and our defense is holding well? Well, then I'm just pooching the entire game, and people are like, oh, he just kind of hits it kind of short. It's well, it's also situationally, the commentators putting you over in the Madden game is basically how anybody knows if you're in a position that people don't know a lot about who's worth a damn and who's not. So that's why you could see how I could tell that adjudicator, well, you're saying I got a 15 arm, so now I got to walk around with everybody in this city thinking that I can't even throw a football? Is that what we're doing? Is that the problem we're having here? Madden adjudicator? Now I think about it, there's no way that was the ratings adjuster that was there.
Yeah, but he maybe ran it up the chain,
He knows the guy.
I was fed up with it. And I 1 year I told him to keep a check. Don't even want the check. Ultimately it was, what's that called whenever it just automatically
Direct deposit.
Yeah, it was a direct deposit. So I took a stand, but not really. 16 minutes after the hour, we got to get to a break. We will be back on the other side. We have Eddie Olczyk, horse gambling expert. I assume he's a horse expert as well. If you're a horse gambling expert, I assume you know a little bit about the fillies and the stallions.
Oh, yeah.
But NHL is what we'll be talking to him about. The NHL is currently in training camp at their home facilities, but they are not under quarantine. Guys are coming and going for training camp, and then they will go up to Edmonton and Toronto, the two hub cities for the Western and Eastern Conference, and they'll be locked down up there. How has the NHL been so good here? They're not reporting if people have COVID. They're just reporting whether or not people are eligible to be skating. So that automatically leads to some assumptions, I would assume, for those that aren't in practice. Good news, Sidney Crosby is practicing, doesn't have COVID. He's going to win the COVID Cup. This is the Pat McAfee Show, Tuesday, July 14th.
We have no idea how to do the subway system, but Zeke is doing the directing, the mapping, the planning. Well, my tell is in 10 minutes, that train should be ready. He knew his shit. He said it's going that way. This is Zito guided tour. We're not going to get spot on the train. We should get on an Uber. This was a bad idea. This was a bad decision. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. I mean, that's going to be interesting.
Are we on the right way to Yankee Stadium right now? To the Bronx.
I don't like that hesitancy.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
New York it's a bit much. There's shit everywhere. It smells like shit. There's a lot of people, but it's a hell of an industry out here, you know.
Thank you so much. Hey, let's go now, Yanks.
What do we say not to knock it?
Yeah. Underrated, we the underdogs, underestimated. Underrated, we the underdogs, underestimated. We the darkness I rose up, gold in my soul, it's a gold rush, honor and freedom, my toast up, kicking game on the snare drum, hard on the beat, let it bleed out like sacrifices, cut it open, emotions, spilling like oil and coasting, therapy for my mental, I'm pinning a pistol and shoot down the criticisms, individually, I heard the voices that told us, throw dirt on my name and wish me the worst and stole us, shot through the heart and pray on my downfall, but yes, he prevailed on my outlaw, stay on top of this. Chest like Olympic gold, rapids move on the field like a jazz song. Witness greatness, look up in LeBron home. Remember next time for you doubt us. That only made me go.
Fellas, are you prepared to unveil your summer bod? The beaches.
Hey, cool glasses, man.
Hey, thank you.
Cool glasses.
Cool glasses, man.
Thank you.
No problem.
Cool.
The beaches are opening, the sun is shining, and the bushes must be tamed. Manscaped is here to ensure your post-quarantine body is ready for the wild. Manscaped is dedicated to helping you level up your full body grooming game. They have forever changed the grooming game with their Perfect Package 3.0. The Perfect Package 3.0 kit comes with the Essential Lawnmower 3.0, which is a waterproof cordless body trimmer, and a ton of other liquid formulations to round out your manscaping routine. You can also adjust settings to get a length you like, and you can stay on top of it with almost no effort at all.
Yes, you can.
Be sure to use their crop cleanser to keep your hair and skin healthy. It's an all-in-one formula, so it's as good for healthy chest hair as it is for your skin. You'll also find the Crop Reviver, a below-the-belt toner that's designed to give you a pep in your step and smell great. For a limited time, subscribers get 2 free gifts, the Shed Travel Bag and the patented high-performance reduced chafing Manscaped Boxer Briefs. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code PATM at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code PATM. Your balls will thank you.
Yeah, they will.
Sure will.
We changed the code there. What is it now?
It's now PATM.
At manscaped.com. And you get what?
You're going to get the anti-chafing ball deodorant and the Shed Travel Bag.
Which, hey, that ball deodorant plays no games down there.
No, it doesn't.
I like the travel bag, too.
It's almost nice whenever you go to the bathroom. It's like, oh, hello. You know? Wait, what's that, Zito? Pop out?
Yeah, it just popped right out. Pretty smooth.
Oh, my God. Okay, let's talk about the Oakley mouth shield that was shipped out to NFL teams this week. So there's always been conversations on how can we make football more safe in the middle of a viral disease. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Viral disease, is that what COVID-19 is? It's a virus, but is that a viral? I don't know.
Yeah, through the air.
And by the way, as you just heard what I said there, not an expert in this whole thing, but they are trying to figure out ways to make it safer. Now, the MLS kicked back in Orlando in their MLS is Back tournament, World Cup, round robin style. I mean, it has been fascinating to watch, actually, games late, games early in the morning. And they have masks before they get to the field, then after they get off the field. But when they're on the field, no masks at all, bumping into each other, stuff like that. I guess there is a little social distancing, but it's an interesting rule. And then the Biodome down in Orlando, one person got in. So they're trying to make rules to make sure sports can happen in the middle of this world with, dancing around the guidelines while trying to be as healthy as possible. And Oakley came out with these face shields, these mouth shields, and they said, hey, here's an idea. Now, this particular model, I guess not exactly just a mouth shield that goes across the bottom of the helmet there. You see the bottom of the face mask has one, and then there's an Oakley top shield there for the eyes. And this type of thing was released a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, and you heard about 15 to 16 NFL players say, oh, great, we just won't be able to breathe while playing football. This is fantastic. J.J. Watt says the designer of this has never played football outdoors in Texas. And then other players were hopping on board like, how would this be an efficient exchange of this entire thing? Because if guys are tackling each other and they're sweating on each other and their hands are getting on each other, and I guess that would help out blocking being able to breathe in somebody else's air if they're standing directly in front of you. But what it's also doing is potentially stopping you from breathing in air when you're dying on the field or incredibly tired. The football helmet is already tight. I mean, it is already something that whenever you put it on, okay, game time, your head kind of flips into a different space at that point. It's already uncomfortable for some people. After you wear it for a long time, it obviously becomes more comfortable, but it's difficult to breathe already in football games because you got pads that are very tight. You got people's hands on you, and it's a very cardio-driven sport. So the thought of blocking the wind and blocking the air to somebody's mouth, which is vital in the game of football. You've seen people have issues whenever they get overheated in football and conditioning, or whenever they get too tired or some stuff. So the thought of blocking the mouth, don't think this is going to be a winner, but I like the thought of Oakley saying maybe this is what will stop COVID-19 from getting into each other's mouths when they're tackling each other from very close distances for at least 4 quarters, maybe even overtime. This seems like a stupid idea, and I don't think this is going to pan out very well.
Yeah, look for COVID cases to definitely go down, but heat exhaustion deaths to skyrocket.
Now, which one would you rather have there? Would you rather get heat exhaustion, maybe faint because you can't breathe, or COVID-19? Real question there. I think you're going with, I don't want to say 19 is a lot better than heat exhaustion.
Wow, heat exhaustion is no fun.
Well,
not that 19 is, but
I love the thought, though, that Oakley was like, oh, we got this figured out. Here we go. We'll send this over. They don't even have to breathe, right? Hey, we'll put it on a factory worker here. Put it on your head. See if it works out for you. Do a couple of sprints back and forth. How's it feel? Oh, pretty good. Okay, we'll send that thing over there. I like that they're trying to make it work, but this feels like something that the NFL Players Association, during their conversations with the NFL, which started last night, Richard Sherman alluded to it on his Twitter, behind closed doors, the players are like, listen, We're all about player safety. It's like literally our number one priority. But we can't be putting a rear naked.
Oh my God!
Can't be putting a rear naked choke and taping over guys' mouths while they're playing football. Just can't do it.
Did you ever wear one for fun in practice or anything like that?
A shield?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a visor on.
It's tough.
It got foggy.
Yeah.
Got very foggy. And it's different. Like, for instance, some people, whenever they golf, they can't wear sunglasses just because it looks a little bit different. They get in their own head. For me, I had a visor on one time. It was, and my face mask was rather low. So my face mask was low. I had an extra large helmet, by the way, because I had a big brain. One of the biggest helmets on the team. Mm-hmm. Massive brain.
No big deal.
And I had a smaller face mask, but I didn't have like the kicker face mask. It was a little bit. But if you turn that thing down, you can get an entire fist right in there, right on my thing. So when they put the visor on there one day, just for hilarious, I had like a 2-inch strip there underneath that kind of, you could kind of go underneath like the eave of the roof goes to the
fascia shot.
The what?
Fascia.
The fascia there. It's like a fascia with a little bit of a hole there in the bottom. So that's what mine looked like. But those things get foggy. You can't see anything. I mean, it's already a problem, but it's great for swagger. I mean, it is.
Oh, yeah.
The guys that get the mirror ones, and the NFL tried to do away with any cool ones. The mirror ones, the design ones. I believe OBJ had the Joker on his one time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are some awesome visors. But for me, I wasn't mentally tough enough to be able to look through the fog. And my face mask was set up in a fashion that it wouldn't have meet the thing. You know what I mean? That's going to be a little bit tough.
It's just not going to work.
I mean, I'm sure this is just a prototype, but if you look at that thing again, there are quite a few holes in that where some transmission could still get in or get out. It doesn't look like that thing's airtight.
I think a good move would be, those Mile High masks that came out?
Yeah.
I think guys just wear those. The ones that make it impossible. You see, like Marshawn Lynch made it popular whenever he was running around. Maybe just have everybody wear those like like you're a pilot or a Top Gun, and you have to strap one of those on underneath the helmet, and then maybe even tie something like around the chest that's like a little bit tighter, so you make it hard to breathe both from the chest and from the mouth, and then we see who really are the best athletes out there. You know what I mean?
Or we could set up similar to the lighting grid here. With oxygen tubes that go straight down into the helmets for all the players.
Smart.
And then just cover it like an astronaut.
Like it is like it's a fighter pilot.
Yeah.
So they all have drones that fly above them.
Yes.
That have oxygen in them.
Mm-hmm.
Those things go right down into the mask that is shut down like a fighter pilot mask. And they have the helmet over top. And they just breathe in through that the entire time. But the drone, you have to pick your drone flyer, which will be very important. You have to, because that person's going to have to stay with you the entire time. It's like those two planes that are dropping gas into the other plane.
Refueling.
Yeah. Yeah, what we're saying is that's a stupid idea.
Boarding on the sticks.
Let's pivot to the NHL, which is in the middle of its training camps, I guess, 2.0 here. Training camps before the quarantine up in Edmonton and Toronto. Joining us, a man who not only has made us money on horse racing, but also NBC NHL analyst, ladies and gentlemen, the legendary Eddie Olczyk.
God, how are you, man? Nice to be with you. Thanks for having me.
Eddie O, it's an absolute honor to have you on the show, brother. Can't wait to chat with you about all things happening in the world. Thanks for taking time with us.
Well, thank you very much for having me. Hope you're feeling well and safe, and your team and your crew and your family, and really uncharted times for all of us, right? I mean, this is the real world, and hopefully we all can get on the right side of this so we can get back to whatever the new normal is going to be, and whether or not we get sports up and running. I know we're going to try, but hopefully we can take people away from the real world and give them something to think about and something to talk about other than obviously the most important thing going on right now around us is our health, because as you know, if you don't have your health, you got nothing. So I appreciate you having me today, and glad you've picked up on a couple of the winners I've touted here over the course of the last little while. So nothing like padding that bankroll, that's for sure.
Bingo, and you've been doing that in a fantastic fashion. And I think a mental vacation is a beautiful way to describe sports and the stupidity that we say into a microphone to distract us from the real world. And you said if you don't have your health, you have nothing. And I don't know if everybody knows this, but the man that's sitting right here is an absolute badass of an individual. You went through an incredible battle with colon cancer, came out the other side of it here. Congratulations on that, by the way. Inspirational, inspiring. That is not easy to do. We're thankful that you're still here and kicking ass and everything like that. But whenever something like this happens, after you beat colon cancer or battle colon cancer, I assume you're alertness has to be much higher than everybody else. What has it been like, the process here, being on the other side of beating cancer, and then now you got a quarantine that's coming through, or a pandemic that's sweeping the world?
Yeah. Well, I think there's a lot there, Pat. I mean, first off, the psychological reliving of sheltering in place. I've kidded with my 4 children and my wife that, before we were asked to shelter in place, we got a month in and everybody's like, pulling their hair out and, when's this going to end? And this is crazy. And I'm like, I'm a veteran at this. I sheltered in place for 6 months when I was going through 6 months of chemo for every 2 weeks and taking the chemo for 48 hours. And really psychologically, Pat, I think at times during this pandemic, for me, it brought me back to where I was. Hard to believe, going on a 3-year anniversary, if I can use that word loosely, being diagnosed on August the 4th of 2017 of having stage 3 colon cancer. I found myself kind of drifting back to what I felt like being at home a lot. Obviously, I didn't have the fanny pack on where I was getting the chemo that I was taking for 48 straight hours. But I think psychologically, it took me back to a bad place. So I think it's been very emotional. It's been very sensitive. It's brought me back to a place that I just want to get in my car and see that rear view mirror and drive as fast as I can away from what I went through. But I think that, what we're all going through is the understanding. And I think we all think we're invincible. It's in life, right? We all think, well, this isn't going to happen to me. This isn't going to, we're not, we feel like we're all immune, and no pun intended. We feel like we're immune to a lot of things out there, and that's not going to happen to me. But as we see, this pandemic is very real, and it has an effect. Now, it may not affect a lot of us physically, but mentally, maybe, because of how our worlds have changed and wondering what's going to happen tomorrow. But I think at the end of the day, I think it's a wake-up call for all of us to make sure that we're getting everything in line and understanding. So I appreciate you allowing me to kind of talk about that, because, look, I felt like I was the luckiest guy in the world. I mean, I grew up in Chicago. I played in the Olympics in 1984 as a 17-year-old. I played 16 years in the NHL. I got an unbelievable TV gig with NBC with hockey and horse racing. I do the local games here in Chicago for the Blackhawks. And one day in July of 17, I wake up and I can't go to the bathroom. I mean, I can't go number 2. I mean, that's as clear as I can say it. And I'm like, well, that's not normal for me. And next thing you know, 5 days later, I'm having a 6-hour surgery telling me that I have stage 3 colon cancer, and they're pulling out a tumor the size of my fist that had been growing inside me for almost 10 years. And, my life got turned upside down. And for me, I learned a lot about myself. I'm way tougher than I ever thought I was.
Hell yeah! Hell yeah! Hell yeah! Hell yeah!
Through this disease. And look, I'm not embarrassed to say this. I mean, there was a time when I was going through my second treatment, Pat, that I was ready to quit, because the chemo, the disease brought me to my knees. The side effects that I had were, I thought were unbearable. I mean, I would just, my nose would bleed. I had bad headaches. I would just go to the bathroom without having to go. I was vomiting. And I just told my wife of 32 going on 33 years. And I told my wife, Diana, I just said, I quit. I'm done. I'm right in the middle of treatment too. I can't get through today. How in the hell am I going to get through the next 5 months of this? And I was ready to quit. And I had never quit at anything in my life. I mean, whether I was playing hockey, coaching as I did with the Pittsburgh Penguins back in the 03 to 06 season, or being down $200 at the racetrack. All right, scratch that, being down $500 at the racetrack. I wasn't quitting. I was not going to bail on anything. And it brought me to my knees. I mean, it tested my will to live, and I told my wife, I'm done. I can't. How am I going to get through the rest of the treatments? And honestly, I mean, you spent a lot of time in locker rooms, and I'm sure you got some great inspirational speeches, Pat, but for me, I got the greatest inspirational speech from my wife when I was at my lowest, and she just grabbed me and she looked at me and she said, look, you got to fight. You got to fight for me. You got to fight for our kids, and you got to fight for all the people that love you. And we had a moment that lasted 30 minutes, and all I did was cry for 35 of it, if you know what I mean. And I'm like, okay, So I pulled up my laces on my skates. I put my hockey helmet back on and said, okay, I'm just going to go one day at a time. And I was able to accomplish that. And here we are now. I just got I just had my 2-year scan, and I'm 2 years cancer-free, clear and clean, and just feel really lucky. And also, by the way, I just became a grandfather for the first time.
Eddie, I'm happy you got back on the ice and started fighting. Tell your wife that the rest of the world says thank you for that, because what you do for hockey and for horse racing, and what you did. Obviously, I'm a big Pittsburgh Penguins fan, so massive fans of yours over here. We're pumped that you're back and fighting out here, and congrats on being a granddad. I mean, probably feel
my granddaughter. Yeah, my granddaughter Audrey Marie was born a week ago today, actually. So obviously it's incredible, and again, the world that we're living in, we can't hold her yet. We can't give her a kiss just because of the COVID world that we're living in. So as I told my wife, we're going to make up for that once we get on the right side of the pandemic. But I'm very excited for my oldest son Eddie and my daughter-in-law Erica, and just super excited to be a granddad for the first time.
Oh, we're so pumped for you. So pumped for you. Congratulations. And when we get to the point where you can, hold the hell out of that baby, and then whenever it starts crying, give it back to little Eddie O. I mean, that's a dream. Yeah. Let's talk, though, about the world that we're in right now.
Yeah.
Because it is very different, obviously. I mean, you can't even see your grandkid. People can't go see each other. Hospitals are all by yourself. You're isolated. You're supposed to be quarantined. We got masks. You're not allowed doing things in certain. And now sports are coming back into this thing. In the NHL, through the history of the NHL, you would have never thought this, but the NHL, behind closed doors with the NHLPA, kind of put together a plan to come back and a roadmap to come back. And I feel like it was maybe a pipe dream for a little bit, but then they started getting to work one day at a time, and they kind of got it figured out. Now they're in training camps in their home cities, and then they're going to go up to the hub. And it is said that the home training camps are not quarantined. Guys are coming and going, and now it's alleged that some people have COVID-19, but they're not making any announcements if people have COVID-19. Do you think this is going to work out? It feels like the world needs the NHL to work out, like the sports world needs it. We would love it, just like the NBA. We want it back. Do you think with the home training camps not being quarantined, that'll be a problem to potentially get this thing off the ground once it gets started up there?
I mean, I think there's multiple steps to getting to this stage, Pat, and you're right. And I echo your sentiments. I stand right next to you. I think the league, I think the commissioner, Mr. Bettman, I think Bill Daly, the deputy commissioner of the National Hockey League, the Players Association, the Return to Play Committee, I think they understood that there needed to be a plan. And I think I looked at it from a point of view of how I like to kind of look at, life in general. The most important things is where you were, where you are, and where in the hell you're trying to get to. And I think for the league to get to this stage, because remember, just like in a lot of other sports, players went back to their home bases or out of the country because that's where they wanted to go back to be with their families. So I think what's happened is, Pat, is they brought everybody back. Guys went into quarantine, needed to come once they got back into the States. And now they're going back into those training camp facilities. And we're just kind of working our way through it, right? I think it's still a moving target, really. I mean, look at I don't care what it is. The virus is dictating the time and the chronological order that this is going to be. The COVID is going to dictate. Yes, you have a August 1st start with Toronto and Edmonton being the hubs, but we don't know what the hell is going to happen in the next hour, let alone what's going to happen in a couple of weeks. So I think they have to get everybody back, get everybody started tested, get the players back on the ice. And as you know, when it comes to hockey and getting this thing off the ground, you're going to need to make sure that you get those players up there, you get them in that so-called bubble. And for the teams to play and get their opportunity, you're going to need three things. One, you're going to need good goaltending. You're going to need hockey health. And most importantly, and we've never had to live through this, is making sure that you have the COVID health, hopefully staying away from the virus. So I think there's still hurdles to jump over, and we don't know. I mean, we've seen some teams missing players. And again, I think the league is mandated, look, we're just going to say players are, they're unfit to participate right now, and people can read into it, and that's what the Players Association wanted. The league obliged. The NBA, Major League Baseball, they're naming players. But at the end of the day, hopefully we can get this off the ground, and hopefully we can see a Stanley Cup champion here, hopefully by the time we get to early October. But I think it's a moving target, though, Pat, because the virus is going to dictate, I think, for all sports, but take sports out of it. We know what the real world is. The virus is dictating what the hell goes on in the real world, and we're a very, very small part of the real world when it comes to the entertainment of sports.
NFL is supposed, the rookies for Chiefs and Texans are allegedly allowed to report on Saturday for their training camps. And
do they have a protocol in place yet?
No, Eddie. No. Saturday. Supposed to have them for Saturday. And then Tuesday, rookies are supposed to go, or Monday or Tuesday, rookies are supposed to go. And then 28th, the vets are supposed to go. And there is a lot of conversation that has to be had. And I think if we look at how the NHL handled it behind closed doors, we hope that the NFL and the NFLPA do that. But who knows with how big the NFL is, obviously, with everybody. Now, let's talk about...
One thing real quick. The one thing, Pat, I know from talking to the ownership side and the league and then also the players is that the players were adamant. Look at, we need testing every day. We're not going to go 2-3 days and put ourselves in harm's way. And also, too, the officials and the people working around, the coaches, the training staff. You know how important the trainers are on a sports team, NFL, NHL. I mean, those guys are the lifeline of an athlete. I mean, they're right there with you. So that was something that was very important, is to make sure that they're getting tested every day and then getting the results back. Now, there's another layer to that, Pat, is that, what happens with these false positives, right? Like, are players going to be able to get tested again? What's going to happen if it's a day of a game? All of that is still, I think, is being worked out. But I think the one thing that was important, and both sides agreed, doesn't matter about the money. I was told by 2 NHL teams is that if you're in this bubble for 30 days, if you're testing 52 team personnel for 30 days and you're testing them every day and getting results back, the cost of that is over $225,000 a month to test 52 players or 52 personnel over the course of the 30-day bubble. So look at, there's an expense there. Again, I don't know how it works, whether it's insurance or the team or the league. But again, there's a major, major cost when it comes to this. But the players said, hey, look at, we're going to get tested every day or we're going to have a serious problem. The league went along with that. And I'd be shocked if other teams or other sports leagues don't go by. I'm a little surprised with baseball, to be honest with you, that they're not getting tested a little bit more often than they are currently right now.
Hey, Eddie, we have to go to a break on radio. Will you stick with us through the break on YouTube?
Sure, I'd be happy to.
All right, we're back on the other side. Legend Eddie O continues with us at youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show. All right. Okay, here we go. And we are back. Eddie, great conversation, by the way. Very thankful that you stopped by here to join us. Will you be going to one of the bubbles?
We're still working that out. I think initially I won't be going. I think because of my commitment with NBC for studio work and as far as an analyst for the games, I'll be able to work off of a monitor for the first part of the playoffs, the play-in and the playoffs. But I do anticipate I'm planning on going to the bubble hubs at some point, whether it's in round 1 or round 2, but certainly for the conference finals and the finals. And, look, I talked to my doctors, and again, I mean, just battling, as we talked earlier, the stage 3 colon cancer. I asked my oncologist, Dr. Mary McAfee, here in Chicago at Northwestern Hospital, and I said, look, we're all, anytime I cough or don't feel good, you get paranoid right away.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, what the hell's going on? And so I asked her right away, Pat, I said, look, I need to know, and she said, look, you're far enough removed, 2+ years from your battle. We don't think that you're in any higher risk because of what you went through. Now, she said if it was a year, less than a year, yeah, you'd be in a higher risk. But since you're so far removed and cancer-free, you shouldn't look at yourself of being. But again, I've been overly protective, obviously, since I was sick, and I will continue to do that. And I will mask up, too, as Russell Westbrook asked everybody to mask up. So I will be masking up moving forward. But, I'm planning on being a part of it, hopefully that we can get it off. And we can see the Stanley Cup presented, as I said earlier.
Oh, can't wait to see you up there, and also for it to get started up there. Hopefully they'll be able to do that. You call games in a beautiful fashion. Doc Emmerich is the guy. He is, and I don't think a lot of people know about him outside of the hockey world, but that is a guy. Do you have any stories about working alongside him that should be heard by anybody? I mean, he is a legend in the game.
Yeah. Doc is. What a privilege sitting next to him for 14 years as his partner. And, he just has an incredible way, Pat, to be able to weave and stick handle his way through, broadcasting the game play by play, to drop in a story about, Jimmy Howard, the goaltender for the Detroit Red Wings, how he got his first pair of goalie pads and goalie gloves at a hardware store that his dad sold hammers and nails at. And what a save by Howard! He just has that. I just find myself getting drawn into Doc and listening to him as a former player and knowing who he was, and now to be his partner. He's not only a great broadcaster, but more importantly, a great friend, and has been a supporter of mine, have helped me along the way. But I think that when you talk about Doc Emmerich, he's a guy, and I don't know if many people know this, and I don't want to burst the bubble, so to speak, but Doc's putting out a book coming out at the end of the year, Pat.
Is this breaking news?
It's gonna have a few stories and a half, and if I'm not mistaken, don't quote me on this, and I'm sure we have some great technical help back in the home studio that. If this is wrong, I'm sure you can just go ahead and dub it out.
Yeah, for sure.
I believe Doc Emmerich called Brett Favre's first pass in the NFL, and I believe the pass was caught by Brett Favre.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken.
That is definitely a factual statement. Whether Doc called it or not, I'm not 100%.
I think Doc called. I think Doc called that game because he's done some football.
Yep.
So there's another one for the arsenal of the great Doc Emmerich.
I believe an Olchek gave us this stick right here. Right?
Mm-hmm. What do you got there? Hold on. I got to put I'm a grandfather. I got to put on the bifocals.
Tommy O. I believe Tommy gave
No
us,
way!
Yeah, I believe he signed this for us after he shot 10 pucks at my balls. So it was a good time whenever he was on the Indy Fuel.
Oh, when he was with the Fuel. Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah.
The Sidney Crosby, greatest player to ever play hockey, yeah?
Greatest player?
Yeah, of all time. Yep.
He's not there yet. Yeah. Look at Sid will go down in my opinion, and look at having been his first coach in the National Hockey League, which was again I'm not trying to take any credit for that. I just kind of geared him and steered him into the right direction. I believe Sid will go down probably as one of the top 10 players ever to play in the National Hockey League. This is what I'll say, Pat. I'm old school. I played in an era. I'm much older than you. I'm a grandfather. I'm much older than you. Yeah. When you talk about Gretzky and Lemieux, I never saw Bobby Orr play. I never played against Bobby Orr. I never played against him, but I saw him play. When I look again, my era, my generation from the early 70s to now, I look at those three guys and go, Gretz, Mario, and Bobby Orr, and go, you know what? That next 4 or 5 guys you could take from about 100 guys and make an argument and probably have a different list. But Sid's a special guy and a terrific guy off the ice as well.
Eddie, do you think Sid has the same career if he doesn't have Mario mentoring since the day he was drafted?
Oh, yeah, I think so. Yeah, his want to, his understanding of the game, to want to be the best. Pat, I'm sure you can, in your days in the National Football League, you could probably go back and when you first see guys step on the field or come into the locker room, you just sit there and go, that guy's got it, right? He's got it. He's going to be here, and everybody else is going to be here, and then he's going to bring everybody up here. Look at the trophies, the individual trophies, all of that is one thing. But when you have a guy that can have that and also have the 3 cups, that's what separates the greats from the from the Hall of Famers, and Sid certainly is one, and will go down, I think, as one of the 10 greatest players ever to play in the league.
And he's not scared to be a pest, which I love, which I absolutely.
Oh, he's got some jam. Oh, he's got some bite, and he's got some jam. And look, early in his career, I mean, he was he was a target, and everybody knew who he was, and there was a boatload of pressure on him, and I saw it every day when I was around him for the couple of years. But I mean, once he funneled his attention to know that, hey, this is going to be the norm, and okay, I'm going to show everybody. Like his want to, or just sitting there and watching him skate or do video with him. Before you'd even hit the old VCR, Pat, you'd sit there, he'd go, yeah, I already know what I did. I should have stopped here, should have turned here. I mean, it just, the guy thinks the game from up top, and that's how I always describe all the greatest players that have played in the NHL, is that they just seem to have the ability to see the game from up here before everybody else does down here, and that's why they're always a step ahead of everybody else.
Yeah, he's the smartest and best player of all time. Ladies and gentlemen, hockey legend, NBC analyst, both in the horse and the NHL world. We'll see him in the bubbles in Toronto and Edmonton soon. Ladies and gentlemen, Eddie Olczyk. Thank you, Eddie. We appreciate you, man.
Anytime, we'll talk to you. If you guys need me from the bubble, let me know. I'll be around.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
All right, not a bad Tuesday. We will do that, by the way. We will hit him. I believe
Maybe
Pierre's going to be up there as well.
Yeah, we get Eddie and Pierre together.
Yeah, a little tag team up there, Pierre and Eddie. What a great show today. Good conversation with Rappaport, little Eddie Olczyk. How about him, by the way?
Oh,
battling cancer, man, is no joke. I've gotten a chance to, kind of go see a lot of people that are going through it, and obviously Chuck Strong, Gala, would be a part of that. What a battle. A lot of badasses that are out there beating cancer. Eddie Olczyk, stage 3 colon cancer, has grown for 10 years. Now he's back in the game. Let's go. We'll be back manana. McAfee and Hawk Sports Talk in an hour and 6 minutes from now. Should be great. This has been the Pat McAfee Show, July 14th.